Reborn as a noble with overwhelming debt in a massive space empire, Liam gives the universe the middle finger and vows to become the ultimate evil lord. Determined to use his powers for villainy, he starts wreaking havoc by exploiting his powers, but no matter how evil his actions, they somehow always end up benefiting the very empire he's trying to destroy. Villainy has never been so frustrating. This story begins with Liam, a pathetic middle-aged loser who lives a boring life with his ungrateful wife and child, who only know how to take but never give back. Still, as a responsible husband and father, Liam takes days off from work whenever he can to spend time with his family. He sacrifices his own dreams and passions for his daughter, Kanami, and buys her everything she desires, whether he can afford it or not. One day, Liam's boss calls him to his office and scolds him for something he didn't even do, but he tolerates the toxic environment of his company, his boss, and his colleagues to provide for his family. His love for them is what gives him the strength to keep going, but everything falls apart when he comes across his wife, Mika, having lunch with an unknown man and giggling when she is supposed to be with their daughter, Kanami, at the sports club. Leah doesn't confront Mika at the moment and returns home later, where he questions her about her day at the sports club. As she and Kanami both vouch for one another, Liam forgets about it, thinking that maybe he shouldn't suspect his wife, who has been so loyal to him. He continues working restlessly, but the tiniest of doubts still remains in his heart, and so to get rid of this unsettling feeling, he visits the place where he found Mika with another man the next day and once again finds her there, this time with Kanami as well. He eavesdrops on her conversation with a man over the phone when Kanami mentions that they are here to meet with her papa. This confuses Liam because Kanami only refers to him as her papa, so he keeps following them until Mika's lover enters the scene, and both the mother and daughter act like he is the man of their house. Unable to accept reality, Liam convinces himself that Mika isn't cheating on him and keeps working his ass off to feed his family. He gets a call from Mika, who informs him of the sudden bad news that Kanami has been in an accident, so he rushes to the hospital and learns that his daughter is currently undergoing surgery. The doctor arrives, informing Liam and Mika that Kanami is in grave need of a blood transfusion, and as it just so happens, her blood type is O positive. Only Mika's blood type matches Kanami's, so she enters the operating theater while Liam becomes more and more doubtful outside. His blood type is AB positive, and scientifically, it's impossible for a father with AB positive blood to have a child with O type blood. This shocking revelation makes it clear to Liam that Kanami is not his child, and unable to accept it, he confronts Mika after Kanami's recovery, imploring her to tell him the truth. However, instead of acting guilty, Mika gaslights him, saying that he never cares for the family and never spends any time with them at all. He tries to make his point, saying he only works to provide food and shelter for them. But Mika stays firm on her stance, saying his job isn't any good and isn't enough to provide Kanami with a quality education. She reminds him how he promised before their marriage that he would always keep her happy, but he has failed to keep that promise for the past 10 years. According to her, all this time, she has felt like a single mother since Liam was never there for them, and that is why she doesn't consider Liam to be a part of her family any longer. Honestly, all that gaslighting instead of answering who Kanami's father is or whether she has been cheating on him. Anyway, Mika has had enough. If she stays here any longer, she might actually start to feel guilty, so she gets up, deciding to abandon this house forever with Kanami and stay with her new papa instead. Liam begs Mika to be rational and requests Kanami to take his side, but even the little devil betrays him, stating that she likes her other papa more than him. With his family falling apart, Liam's work life also takes a turn for the worse. His boss accuses him of embezzling the company's money to an unidentified bank account, making him realize that when he rushed off to the hospital a few days ago, he accidentally left his PC open, and someone might have transferred the money from his PC. But having no proof of that, Liam faces the punishment and not only gets fired, but is forced to work as a manual laborer to repay the company's lost funds. Mika uses Liam's poor financial condition as an excuse to file for divorce, not only getting full custody of Kanami, but also demanding child support from him, not knowing how he is ever going to pay his debt. Liam tries escaping reality by watching his favorite robot mecha anime with one of his old friends, but his broken heart doesn't allow him to do that either. He can only hope that things will get better if he works hard, and that he will get to see his daughter again, even though she prefers the other dad. He believes all his hardships and sacrifices will be rewarded by God. But God has other plans, as he blesses him with a disease that slowly starts killing him internally. With no insurance and no money to afford treatment, Liam finally gives up when a blinding light appears before his eyes, showing him that it was none other than his own boss who embezzled the company's money from his PC. Not only that, but the person Mika has been having an affair with is also his boss. The scene shows both Mika and Liam's boss celebrating Liam's misery, which rips him apart from the inside, making him plead to the gods to let this nightmare be just a bad dream. At that moment, a mysterious figure appears before Liam, stating that everything he was shown is the truth. Liam screams in agony, wanting revenge on those who have wronged him, which only makes the mysterious figure more entertained. The figure states that he has taken an interest in Liam because Liam is a good man, but Liam no longer cares about being good, as everyone has screwed him over for having that trait. Assuming that this figure is some kind of deity, Liam requests him to bestow upon him a second life where he can do whatever he wants. This time, he wants to become the ultimate villain who will walk all over everyone else. The mysterious deity accepts and gives him the option to choose from 5 different worlds to be reincarnated into. Among fantasy, supernatural, period drama, Wild West, Jurassic era, and finally, robots and space battleships. Liam chooses the space battleships one, as it reminds him of the days he spent with his old friends discussing these types of anime. The deity accepts and tells Liam that this is a sci-fi fantasy world where both science and magic coexist, and that he will be born into the house of a count who rules a planet. As Liam signs the contract, the deity sends his vengeful soul to become the ruler of robots and the ultimate space bully. As Liam opens his eyes, he finds himself inside the body of a young child lying on the terrace of what looks like a mansion that hasn't been touched in decades. Just as the mysterious deity said before, Liam is now on a planet named Hydra, ruled by his father Count Banfield. The residential estates are completely surrounded by plants, including Liam's own home, which looks like a dystopian Christmas tree-themed house. As Liam heads inside, his mom surprises him, wishing him a happy 5th birthday. Using transportation magic, she takes him to another room to show him the royal cake prepared for his birthday and gives him his present. He opens the large gift box, only to find a small device hanging inside, which his mom claims is an order sheet for an AI-made robot. Liam doesn't understand much and presses a random button on the gadget, causing a character customization screen to pop up. To summarize, he now has to choose the appearance of the maid. As he goes through the long selection process, his mom explains that after picking a model, he will have to send the order sheet to the manufacturer to receive his unique AI-made robot. She casually mentions that he must also select the maid's private parts. Although this is extremely inappropriate, she acts as if it is completely normal. Liam's dad enters as well and, as a birthday present, makes Liam the new head of the family with the additional condition that both parents get to live the rest of their lives on the Imperial home planet. He assures Liam that not having them around will give him more autonomy. They also mention that Liam must provide them with a monthly allowance so they can live in peace. Liam agrees to all of these terms, prompting his father to call the Grand Chamberlain with the official paperwork, handing the house over to his 5-year-old child. Liam doesn't question anything and, as he signs the contract, his father mentions one last thing. From now on, his maid will be the one taking care of him. With that settled, both of his parents run off as if they just got rid of a huge burden, leaving Liam questioning what just happened. He gained power, influence, and wealth, everything a man could ask for, in the blink of an eye. But at the same time, he feels like he lost everything as well. However, since Liam retains all of his past life's memories, He is an adult inside and doesn't need new parents to babysit him. His goal now is to become an evil lord and exploit everything around him. He is grateful to the deity for granting him a second life and thanks him wholeheartedly. But what he doesn't know is that the reason his original life was in ruins is all thanks to the same deity, who manipulated both his wife Mika and his boss purely for entertainment. With Liam's show coming to an end, the deity decides it's time for Mika and Liam's boss to suffer as well. With a simple snap of his fingers, Liam's boss gets arrested by the police for embezzling company funds. With him gone, Miss Gold Digger loses her gold, marking the beginning of her downfall. This kicks off another entertaining show for the evil deity. The deity reveals that he feeds on resentment, anger, hatred, and despair, basically all negative emotions. That is why he sent Liam to that isekai world, craving more entertainment from him, as the deity opens another dimensional door to leave after sending Liam's soul away. A divine cat sneakily enters the room before leaving just as the door is about to close. Not sure what just happened, but the cat must have some importance to the story. Back in Liam's parallel universe, a space war has broken out because this bald nincompoop wanted to show off his Go's pirate crew's firepower. His mecha robots are about to overpower the enemies when suddenly, Christiana, the first princess knight of the Holy Kingdom of Lib, enters the arena and slices down all of the enemy troops like cutting through butter. She dodges the frontal assault with ease, and with her leading the charge, it doesn't take long for the enemy frontline to be completely wiped out. The pirates start to retreat, realizing that they cannot win this war. But the princess doesn't allow them to escape, as she wishes to make each and every one of them regret messing with her kingdom. Meanwhile, Liam receives his personalized AI-made robot, delivered inside a large doll package. With a simple touch, the package transforms into a generic-looking maid who introduces herself as a Magi. Wasting no time, Liam immediately starts feeling up his new maid's melons, brushing it off as a thorough inspection of the goods when questioned by his chamberlain. Wanting to continue his inspection session in private, he takes a Magi to his playroom and does absolutely nothing out of the ordinary. Trust me on that. Later that night, Liam puts Amagi to work, making her do everything for him, preparing tea, giving massages, and even bathing him. At this rate, it will not be long before this fit kid turns into a KFC uncle. The Grand Chamberlain, still stressed about what might have happened in the playroom earlier, watches Liam with growing concern. Noticing his unease, Liam reassures him, saying there is nothing to worry about despite his 5-year-old body. His mind is that of a 36-year-old adult. Hearing this, Amagi corrects him, explaining that in this empire, adulthood is officially recognized at age 50, though most people do not consider themselves true adults until they have crossed the 100-year mark. She also mentions that humans here live for 500 to 600 years, which suddenly makes sense to Liam. Considering how much this world prioritizes environmental conservation, everything around them is green and well preserved. Seeing Liam getting a little too comfortable with the AI, the Grand Chamberlain steps in, warning him that the Empire despises artificial intelligence. If a noble like Liam is seen getting too close to an AI doll, rumors will spread. Curious, Liam asks him to elaborate, so the Chamberlain explains how humanity was nearly wiped out by AI in the past. Liam, confused, asks if they had not been programmed with the 3 fundamental laws of robotics. However, the Chamberlain looks at him blankly, completely unaware of what Liam means. At that moment, Liam realizes exactly where things went wrong in this world. The old man continues his story, explaining that during those dark times, a group of brave warriors fought against the rogue AI and miraculously won, eventually founding the Empire. This raises a major question if the Empire despises AI so much. Why would Liam's mother gift him something that could bring trouble? The Grand Chamberlain hesitates at first, but since Liam is now the new master, he finally speaks the harsh truth. Liam's parents have abandoned him and fled, leaving him to inherit the massive debts that have weighed on their family for generations. Apparently, Liam's great-grandfather was a wise ruler, but he failed to raise his heir properly. That heir squandered everything, and since then, the family's debts have only continued to pile up. The Chamberlain predicts that things will only go downhill from here for this planet. And after learning this newfound information, Liam wonders how he is supposed to become an evil lord when he possesses neither wealth nor power. Meanwhile, somewhere in a bar, people begin discussing their new lord, Liam, questioning whether the common folk will forever be at the mercy of the nobles. The bartender lady remains hopeful, believing that a 5-year-old child couldn't possibly be as wicked as the previous lords. However, the others strongly disagree, convinced that this country is bound to experience yet another era of suffering. Going back to Liam, he still cannot comprehend why a mere 5-year-old like him is being burdened with such heavy responsibilities. He begins to suspect that his parents only gave birth to him so they could transfer all their debts onto him. The Chamberlain confirms this to be true, making Liam wonder if he is destined to be used, abused, and discarded just like in his previous life. Since both he and Amagi seem to be outcasts in this world, Liam proposes that they join forces for survival. He takes an oath to gain power and show everyone who is in charge, once again inviting Amagi to stand beside him as his partner. However, Amagi reminds him that her sole duty is to serve him as his maid, not as his equal. She is prepared to do whatever is necessary to satisfy his needs and tells him to feel free to command her as he pleases, just in case Amagi ever goes rogue. Liam establishes his own version of the 3 laws of robotics, naming them the 3 laws of maid robots. First, she cannot harm her master or cause anything that might lead to his harm. Second, she must obey all of her master's orders unless they contradict the first law. Third, she must protect her own existence as long as doing so does not conflict with the previous laws. Afterward, Liam turns to Amagi for advice, believing that as an AI, she should have vast knowledge about administration and governance. She suggests that they make use of an education capsule. Apparently, by using this capsule, Liam can install 10 years worth of knowledge into his brain in just 6 months while also strengthening his body. Liking the idea, Liam decides to go through with it and assigns Amagi the role of overseeing his domain, putting her in charge of the territory. The Grand Chamberlain strongly opposes this decision, but he fails to win an argument against the combined wit of Liam and the advanced intelligence of an AI. With everything settled, Liam prepares to enter the education capsule. Before beginning the process, he asks Amagi one final question: do AI in this world have emotions? Even here, AI can mimic human behavior, and just for the sake of the anime, yes, she does have emotions. Leaving everything in her hands, Liam steps into the capsule, going into cryo-sleep for the next 6 months. The mysterious deity who claims to be the guide is a detached being who feeds on negative emotions, having already been done with Liam, his wife, and her lover, and now looking for his next target. He heads off to Earth again, where he lays his eyes on a young woman who is at a noodle shop about to have the best meal of her life. But as she snaps open the chopstick, it breaks unevenly, which in Japanese culture is considered a bad omen and is believed to bring misfortune or even death. The reason why the chopsticks broke unevenly is because of the guide deity who is loving how many negative emotions are being generated from her because of such a little thing. Meanwhile, back in Liam's world, Liam's maid Amagi waits for his awakening in front of his education capsule. The capsule opens up, and Liam wakes up, finding out that he's been asleep for 2 years and his physical body has grown and has been strengthened by the night-raising program of the capsule. Since it has been only seconds for Liam, he will need time to get used to his growing, and Amagi suggests that he get some rehabilitation. Afterward, Liam inquires how his territory, Banfield, has been doing, and Amagi shows him the territory's current economic situation. As an AI robot, she has done her part faithfully and has governed Banfield properly, so Liam praises her, but he wants to see the development with his very eyes. So, he heads out with her and becomes greatly astonished learning that she has created a spaceport for Banfield's army. Not only that, she has also built a floating dock in the skies where mobile robots and spaceships can be stationed. Liam eagerly visits the floating dock and is completely amazed by the sight of the mobile knights that he can and will mount in the future. As he expresses his wishes to ride the robot, Amagi arranges it for him, teaching him the basic controls, which are easy to learn. The maneuvering is dependent on magic, and basically, whatever movement Liam will imagine, the robot will move exactly as he wishes. Liam accordingly and carefully descends the mobile knight from its station and walks around with ease. Moments later, he gets bored and asks Amagi if there's any way for him to practice combat using the robot. She arranges it quickly, equips him with a sword and summons Captain Masita of the Banfield Army to be Liam's sparring opponent. Liam excitedly takes the offensive and hits Masita's shield with full power, sending him crashing into the ground. Liam realizes that Masita deliberately gave up, and not wanting to be treated like a child by this army man. Liam makes it clear to him that he should take this fight seriously, or he'll face consequences for being disrespectful. So taking the duel seriously, Masita gets up and defends properly, disarming Liam in an instant and pinning him against the ground, ending the match. With this defeat, Liam gets hit with the reality check that he will have to build his own battle skills to become a better pilot. So, he tells his Chamberlain to hook him up with an instructor who will teach him how to become competent in combat. The Chamberlain doesn't think fighting is necessary for a lord, but Liam believes otherwise and no longer wishes to be oppressed by others for being weak. He wants to become the strongest out there in order to achieve his goal of becoming an evil lord and appoints Yasushi, a man with a katana, to be his sensei. Liam introduces himself to Yasushi, expressing his desire to become the best swordsman, which prompts Yasushi to get into a philosophical speech about how there isn't anyone who can be called the best. Amagi becomes skeptical of the cringe man, but Liam tells her not to worry about it and begins his training with Yasushi. The master swordsman first demonstrates a secret technique of what he calls the way of the flash. Gripping the hilt, he slightly unsheathes his sword before sliding it back into place, and in an instant, all of the logs around him split in half. Liam initially believes that the man drew his sword so fast that they couldn't even see it. So, he asks Amagi to play the slow-mo video of it, which she recorded with her eyes, only to find out that the man didn't even draw his sword. Assuming that Amagi's high-tech camera couldn't capture Yasushi's technique, Liam becomes even more intrigued and decides to become Yasushi's disciple. However, what he doesn't know is that Yasushi is a scammer and the logs were already cut open by him beforehand. The guide deity watches the entire thing happen from his dimension. Perhaps he is the one who sent Yasushi here, and he eagerly waits to see what this will lead to in the future. On the other side, Christiana, the Princess Knight, gets a peace talks offering from the enemy pirate gang. So she heads to the enemy base with her battle fleet to speak with the enemy pirate gang's commander, Goze. However, Goze actually never intended to have any peace and only brought her here so he could attack her unguarded home planet, Mysteria. Moments later, thousands of pirate ships approach Christiana's planet, passing through her alliance's defense line, and Goze reveals that the alliance joined hands with him, betraying her because most of them think of her planet as a threat, as the entire combined fleet of the alliance point their weapons at Christiana's spaceship. Goze reveals that it just took him some money to convince the alliance to betray her and makes her realize that her rule ends here. However, he promises to not harm her planet if he listens to what he tells her to do. 3 years have passed since Liam started training under the con man, and of course he hasn't learnt the flash technique because it doesn't exist. He has mastered basic martial arts, but he isn't satisfied at all and wants to learn special techniques that can help him become an overpowered evil lord. Back at Master Usushi's crib, he boasts about how easy it has been to scam Liam, who continues to be clueless about the fact that he is nothing but a bum with no skill at all. He is happy about how much he has gotten and wishes this easy money would keep coming forever. At that moment, Liam returns to ask his master some questions. He pleads with his master to teach him a complicated technique called the technique of the way of the flash. Hearing this, Master Yasushi banishes him from the school as punishment for his continued insistence on wanting to learn an advanced technique when he hasn't fully mastered the basics. Immediately, Liam pleads with his master to forgive his ignorance and admits to being a fool, which he clearly is. He begs not to be kicked out, and Master Yasushi stylishly listens to his plea since he didn't want his money source to run dry. After being forgiven, Liam hurriedly leaves his master alone. Noticing that he has left, Master Yasushi breaks out of his elegant character and acknowledges that he has completely no idea about the technique Liam has asked him to teach. Just then, Liam returns again to offer him some extra money as an apology, and the hungry master accepts. When Liam finally leaves, he is very excited about the extra cash he would be getting. While he is excited, Liam returns again to inform him that he won't be available for classes the next day, and Master Yasushi has no problems with that. Of course, he would have no issues with his favorite money bag not coming for his pointless classes. Back at his palace, Liam takes an elegant position on his throne as he laments on the stress of learning. At that moment, Imagine informs him about Themonth's economic report with debts remaining the same. However, since production and sales are growing, all seems to be well. Liam acknowledges Liam for her hard work and considers leaving the government to her more often. As pleased as Amagi was to hear this, she apologizes for having a low growth rate that they had expected. She shows him a report on the welfare program and laments on how the results have gone below expectation. Liam finds this surprising and wishes to know who is in charge of this failure. Shortly after, a weird-faced and ugly-looking shorty arrives. Immediately, Liam asks that he states his excuses for such failures. At first, the shorty is surprised about this, but is soon reminded about his concealing and manipulation of finances that shows a clear sign of embezzlement. Hearing this, the shorty defends himself by claiming that Liam is still too young to understand these things. He claims the expenses are necessary, but Liam reminds him that it's a lie. Furthermore, the shorty insists that he had injured those expenses to keep things running. Hearing him litter these lies, Liam asks why he chose to use a different vendor from the one that had been used before. But he claims that the new vendor is better. Stop the cap man. Having gotten tired of these lies, Liam reminds him about his other corrupt practices of bribing vendors. While these accusations continue, Liam's mind runs wild. He considers learning a thing or two from this seemingly talented corrupt official. Unfortunately, the fatty is not as talented as Liam had thought. Imagine informs him about an embezzlement case that had happened earlier which involved a subordinate of the shorty. Although he claims that this was entirely the work of his subordinate, as the case stated, Liam and Amago believe that he had only framed his subordinate to get away with it, especially considering the fact that the embezzled funds were never recovered. When Liam hears this, he is angry at the shorty for intentionally ice-gaying his subordinate to get away with the embezzlement. Scared, the short fatty claims that it's all lies and pleads with Liam not to trust dolls like Amago since they were the enemies of mankind. In a fit of rage, Liam picks up his sword and slowly walks towards the fatties, demanding to know if he loves to ice-guy his subordinates. Watching Liam walk to him, the fatty continues to say meaningless things to defend his actions, even aiming that everyone else does this since it keeps business running. Even with all this muttering, Liam unsheathes his sword. When this happens, the fatty switches and informs Liam that he is only able to live a luxurious life due to the efforts of lords like him. However, before he could complete such defamatory words, Liam slices the life out of him. He rants at the lifeless lord, letting him know that no one has the right to touch his people or his money except him. Before this could get out of hand, Imagine calms him down. Before then, he orders her to investigate all the corrupt officials. However, she lets him know that doing that would cause more harm than good. On the other hand, she suggests that he prepares a large number of dolls instead, claiming that 30 dolls would serve him more efficiently in things like governance and other subsidiary units to make sure there is progress in the land. Hearing this, Liam immediately agrees to it. Although Amagi believes people could have negative things to say about this decision, Liam doesn't seem to care as long as there will be progress. That night, the news begins to spread about how Liam had killed a corrupt official. Also, they talk about how Liam intends to change compulsory education from 3 to 6 years, which has made more construction workers to be assigned to building schools. They believe that Liam is doing a good job, especially considering his young age of 10. Meanwhile, Liam finally tries to control the large transformers-like machines, since he has now mastered martial arts. Unfortunately for him, his fake master arrives just in time to play down his dream of riding the machine by claiming that there is no meaning in using something that every other person can use. Instead, he asks Liam to consider controlling something more powerful which no one else can handle. Hearing this, Liam immediately agrees to it. He turns to the captain of the base for ideas and is told about the old non-automatic model of the machines. The captain informs him about the existence of a unit which his great-grandfather used to pilot, and Liam is so excited about taking after his great-grandfather's machine.